Rebel soul child, got a fist balled. I'm a respawn of ancestors, and I'm blessed, They are not him, tell him fess up.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a UFC top tier list for the greatest of all time. So, let's get straight into it.
So here we go. Here are the fighters. We've got 4 categories here. There's the GOAT, Hall of Fame fighters, a good fighter, and people I think that I could beat. So first of all, we've got CM Punk. Just gonna immediately put him there.
I think I could beat him. I don't need to give any reasons why.
Israel Adesanya. Currently, I think he's a good fighter. I do think he will end his career at the Hall of Fame. I think they'll give that to him. Michael Bisping, he's already in the Hall of Fame, so I've got to put him back up there. Best fighter to come out of Britain so far. DC, obviously, straight to the Hall of Fame. He's got to be in there. Dominic Cruz, Hall of Fame.
Are you alright? Huh? Okay.
Nate Diaz, because of what him and his brother done inside of the UFC, I'm going to put him in the Hall of Fame. He is so famous, and his brother's even more famous, so together they've got a massive, massive impact. Oh, this roided little freak. I'm going to put him in good fighter. He would be in the Hall of Fame, but you know.
Tested positive for drugs, so.
That's fucking illegal.
Leon Edwards, good fighter. I think he'll be top contender. I think he'll fight Usman again. I don't think he's going to win that fight. Rashad Evans, good fighter. Justin Gaethje, great fighter. He's better than good fighter, but he's not as good as Hall of Fame, so I'm going to put him there in good fighter. Alexander Gustafsson, good fighter. If he beat Jon Jones, I would have put him in Hall of Fame, but he didn't. Daniel Hooker, again, just a good fighter. This guy just takes any fucking fight, win or lose. He doesn't care. He just takes fights. Same with Cowboy here. Cowboy was kind of used as a stepping stone in the welterweight division because people will fight him, and if you beat Cowboy, you're more than likely going to get into the top 10. So he was a bit of a stepping stone fighter, which I didn't like. Robbie Lawler, good fighter. Tyron Woodley.
Now, at the start of this video, when I first started filming, it was yesterday. So since then, he got knocked out by Jake Paul.
He would have been Hall of Fame. I'm just going to put him good fighter, but right at the bottom. I'm not going to put him because I could beat, because he'd absolutely knock me out. 100% he'd knock me out. But a lot of respect has been lost, so he's going there. Darren Till, good fighter, terrible chin. Don't know what the fuck has happened to him the last 2 or 3 years. He just can't take a punch anymore. Max Holloway, Hall of Fame, 100% Hall of Fame. He's such a good fighter. He's been such a good fighter since he was so young, and he's still got a couple of years left. So I think he's going to make another impact, especially at the division that he's in. Derek Lewis is a great fighter. He's so fun to watch. You know it's going to be a great fight. It's always going to be funny. Alistair Overeem, another great fighter. He's going to go there. Ooh, Nunes. I'm going to put her as the top Hall of Fame here. I do feel like she's the female greatest of all time currently. I know she's just taken the loss to Penn and lost her title, but I think she's going to gain it back. I think she's going to have a rematch and she'll get it back. And there probably will be a trilogy fight because that would make sense money-wise, but I think she'd win that as well. Ronda Rousey, Hall of Fame, straight away, somewhere around here. She brought so many new eyes to the sport, so 100% respect to her for that. Dustin Poirier, good fighter. Do you know what the thing about him is? I don't think he's ever going to win a belt. I think he's a great fighter. He's going to stay top 5. I don't think he's ever going to win a belt. BJ Penn.
I'm going to put him. I think I could beat him. Listen to my logic first before you have a go at me. I can't just beat him up randomly because I think he could take me 100%. But I saw a video of him getting knocked out at a nightclub, right? Big time. The hit wasn't even that hard. It was just very well aimed. His last couple of fights were really bad. I remember watching him. And he's old and he's fat and he's just slow. And I feel like if he was drunk and I was sober, I feel confident enough to throw a punch at him. So I'm gonna put him, and I could beat, but he's behind. He's behind CM Punk because, well, you know.
Matt Hughes, absolutely Hall of Famer. The tragedy that in that train crash, I couldn't believe it. I feel so bad for him. He was my favourite fighter. Out of every wrestler who's ever been inside of the UFC, I think Matt Hughes is the best, and I certainly think Matt Hughes would have beat Kamaru Usman if both of them in their primes fighting each other. I think Matt Hughes would win that. Chuck Liddell, what a legend, Hall of Fame. Don't even need to give you a reason why. GSP, again, straight away as the Hall of Fame. Now, the only reason I'm not putting him as the GOAT is because he had 2 losses. He did have a loss to Masada, and not that he's not a good fighter, he is a great fighter, and he's so good at jiu-jitsu. It's incredible. And, he brings a lot of guys up for the academies and stuff, but he was probably my second pick for greatest of all time. Anderson Silva, Hall of Fame. Obviously, Tony Ferguson, good fighter. Francis Ngannou, great fighter. Habib, Hall of Fame.
He's not the GOAT. Habib is not the GOAT. Do not sit there and tell me that this man is a GOAT. He's had 30-0. Bear in mind, I think 8 of those fights, probably less, have been inside of the UFC, which is the ultimate fighting championship. If you're over there in Russia picking up wins, I'm not counting that as you being the greatest of all time. How many times did he defend his title compared to someone like GSP or Anderson Silva? That is a GOAT. Someone who gets 30-0 and retires at the age of 30, 31. That's not a GOAT. No chance.
Kamaru Usman, Hall of Fame. Or he's going to be. He's certainly going to be.
Look at his head. His head is fucking massive. The size of it. He can't get knocked out. The man's got a head of steel.
Masvidal, just a good fighter, nearly top end. You got to think about his history as well. He's only been doing good the last 3 or 4 years. After he beat Till, after he knocked Till out, then he started getting progressively better. But before that, he was having a lot of issues making weight and a lot of issues with his fighting. He's only winning half of his fights, so I'm not going to put him there. Conor McGregor.
I don't care what you say. He's going into the Hall of Fame purely because what he did for the sport. He brought millions and millions of new eyes to this sport, and he took over the sport like no one else has ever done in the history of the UFC. Do not deny it. Don't sit there and tell me between 2016 and 2018 when he was calling out the rounds, knocking people out, knocking Jose Aldo out in 13 seconds. Don't tell me you were sitting there not loving every second of it. It was fucking brilliant.
Talking about the man, Jose Aldo, Hall of Fame. 10 years unbeaten. Just a great fighter. And he's still fighting now. The guy is old. The guy should be retired and he's still fighting and he's winning, which is even more impressive. Obviously, the greatest of all time, on this list anyway, Jon Jones. It has to be Jon Jones.
I mean, yes, he did get a loss, but it was a bullshit loss to do with illegal elbows. Like, come on. We know what that fight was. He was destroying Matt Hamill. I have no idea why the referee did not let him carry on. And he's not a knockout artist. Of course he has power, but he's not a knockout artist, yeah, which is what he's gone against, and he's beaten them all. He's beaten every single person he's ever faced. So he's obviously the greatest of all time. Listen guys, thank you so much for watching. That was my GOAT list. I'm really trying to keep the video short. I don't think you need to watch a video over 5 minutes. I think they're a bit pointless. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
They are not him, tell him fess up. I get check stub, hella carefree, nothing scares me, hella reckless. Yeah, I got next up, right? No, we not.